G'day and welcome to this week's video. My name's Robert Gowdy, and this week what I thought we'd do, like we do most here, is a end of financial year planning. Now I'm recording this mid-April. A lot of people in the past used to leave their end of financial year planning right to the end, but thought I'd get this done nice and early so people can know what strategies are available, and ultimately where these strategies and contributions need to be made by the end of June. And that is not just walked in with a check, which obviously most people don't use a check anymore, to your financial planner. The money needs to be physically in your superannuation fund before June 30. What I'll do is I'll go through things, each type of contribution and the benefit that you can potentially get. And ultimately this is all about saving money. Saving money, getting money into superannuation, paying less tax, or co-contributions, spouse contributions. So I'll go through each one in detail, but it means you are saving money and you've got more money in your superannuation working for your retirement, and you get the effects of compound interest. So these strategies, if you implement them, the ones you're eligible for, on a year in, year out basis for a long period of time, that's where I've seen superannuation balances for some clients. They just become outstanding, and it sets them up for an independent retirement. And it's by just consistently and very boringly putting money into super and getting the tax advantage over time. So let us start with concessional contributions. Now, there's been a lot of changes over the years. They've been pretty rock solid in terms of, we've been able to put in $25,000 in the previous years. That's been indexed up to $27,500. That amount of money can go into superannuation, and you can reduce your income tax by these contributions. The $27,500 includes your employer contributions, which is a mandated 10.5% of your salary, and so you can top up to the $27,500. Now that will go into superannuation 15%. So if you're on a marginal tax rate of between $45,000 and $120,000, you would normally pay 34.5% tax on that money. If you'd accept it, in your own hand, in your bank account, whereas it goes into super, it's 15%. So that saves you nearly 20%. Those on the highest marginal tax rate, which is over $180,000, they can save 32% tax. So these are huge savings. There is no investment that I can recommend to a client that will guarantee to save this amount of tax each and every year. Now, for those people who have had an event like they've sold a farm and they've got a machinery sale, or there's been an asset sale where someone's had a big capital gain, for those that haven't used their full concessional contributions for the prior years, have the ability to go back and utilise those unused concessional contributions if on the 30th of June in the previous year your superannuation balance was not over $500,000. So this is something that we're using with farm sales on a regular basis. So we're timing to make sure that we don't put big amounts of money in, that we use the unused concessional contributions. And a recent example that I worked on meant that a couple could put in over $200,000 into superannuation prior to the end of the financial year, and only pay 15 cents on the dollar when they've got huge income in that last year of farming. So some good strategies to think about there. The concessional contributions, obviously that is a regular huge tax saving, which we recommend you do. There are other contribution limits like the co-contributions, which has been about since the Howard days, where if you put $1,000 into your super as a personal or non-concessional contribution, so just a personal after-tax contribution, and your income's less for this financial year about $42,000, but next year it's 43.5-ish, thereabouts. If you put $1,000 and your income is less than those amounts, then the government will give you a $500 extra contribution to your superannuation. So that is a 50% return on your money. So for grandparents and parents where grandchildren and your children have just started to work, they might be just gone 15 and they're earning a small amount of money, just for all the kids that have everything already, pool your money, super contribution, $1,000 will then turn to $1,500 if you complete a tax return. That's something that they need to do, and that can compound for the next 40 years, and this will make tens of thousands of dollars difference. But it's not just for the young ones. This is just a strategy to help really supercharge young people's superannuation balances, but people are eligible all the way up to age 75. Just need to be earning some income, but be less than that 42,000 for this financial year and 43.5 for next financial year. It does gradually phase out, and about 58 grand it phases out to zero. Another one that we don't see used much at all, but it can provide an 18% return. Again, an amount of money that I can't guarantee an investment can make 18 grand, but here's something you can do each year where you can make a spouse contribution, where you can put $3,000 as a after-tax contribution to your spouse's superannuation fund. You need to make sure it's designated as a spouse contribution for the super fund, so it's a special type of contribution. And then, so the spouse that has made the contribution into their spouse's superannuation fund that's earning 37 grand or less will get an 18% tax rebate. That is $543. So that is a tax rebate. You won't receive that in cash. It will come off your tax. So again, not widely used or widely known, but geez, it's an absolute ripper. Last one I was keen to cover off on was non-concessional contributions. Now, non-concessional contributions is where you're putting money into superannuation, from after-tax dollars. So I can hear you thinking, Rob, why am I going to want to put, non-concessional contributions into super? Well, the reason for that, now on our simple cash and term deposit rates, we're getting a rate of return. I just looked up the rates there, and we could get a 1-year term deposit of 4.7%. I think it was A&P. So a really healthy return. So all of a sudden, $500,000 at 4%, is bringing in, 20 grand per year. That on top of your other income, might push you up into higher tax brackets. So all of a sudden, if you've got spare money that you don't need, remember, put into superannuation, it ties it up until you meet a condition of release, which is generally age 65 or age 60 and retired. And if you don't retire between 60 and 65, you're very limited on how much you can access. So if you've got a lot of, say, simple term deposits that's now earning some money, it could be exacerbating a tax problem. You can put that into superannuation. Because it's a non-concessional contribution, they will not take 15% tax out. It goes in and is all invested. And it can be invested just in a simple term deposit if you like. So the contribution rules for non-concessional is you can put in $110,000 per financial year, and you can use the bring forward rule and bring 2 years forward and put in $330,000 in one financial year. And it means you can't use any non-concessional limits for the 2 coming financial years. Lots to think about there. Think about, obviously, access. Do you need access to this money if you're going to put big lump sums in? But there is now tax consequences on money that sits outside that could be sitting in super. And of course, the closer you are to preservation age, as in getting access, the less risk you would have with that strategy, putting in big lump sums into superannuation. So that's it. Lots of different ways to save tax and build up your retirement assets, so you can have more fun in retirement and feel more comfortable in your retirement to choose what you get to do in retirement, which is exactly what we're all chasing. Thank you for listening, and give us a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next week. See ya.